Hey all my geeks out there, I'm Geek Soul Brother and I'm putting the funk in the final frontier. In my last video, I talked about 10 sci-fi fantasy TV shows that are coming out in 2016. In this video, I want to talk about 15 sci-fi and fantasy TV shows that got canceled. I don't know why they keep canceling sci-fi shows. I hate this because I know you geeks out there watch them. Let's get to it. My first sci-fi TV show that got canceled that kind of hurt was Daybreak. Daybreak with Taye Diggs. He basically played a detective that was caught in a time loop. It's kind of like if you took Groundhog's Day and mixed it with 24, you would get Daybreak. He was a detective, got caught in a time loop, a one-day time loop, where in this day he was framed for murder, and his job, or to save himself, was to find the real killer of the person that he got framed for murder for, and to protect his family, to protect his girlfriend. It was 13 episodes actually, and it was a good story arc. So if you guys go back, you can go Hulu, something like that. You can go back and watch it. Really good show. I do suggest that you catch up to it. Number two was Dollhouse, a Josh Whedon special. It was a little underrated show for his talent. Everybody knows Buffy and all that, but Dollhouse, probably why it got canceled, nobody knew about it. It starred Elijah Dushku. It was a show where these dolls, which were a bunch of people where their minds were erased, their minds were kind of stored in this kind of technology, whatever, computer technology, and in replace of their minds, the dolls would be injected with the minds of like a lawyer or an assassin, or maybe a bank robber or something like that, and they would go out and do jobs for people. He would be hired by clients and go out and do jobs for people. So Elijah Dushku was the main doll, right? The main one of the show, and all the dolls were all good looking. They were all hot young people, and I don't know, prerequisite, I guess, but it got canceled. It was a really good show because the concept of putting in minds or buildings, personalities, and putting them in people were that was pretty interesting. It also starred Harry Lennox, who you always see. You see him in as a general in Man of Steel and stuff like that. Number three, Defying Gravity, also an underrated show. I tell people about this show and they've never seen it. Defying Gravity was a show that came on ABC, and it was basically about a ship that was a story about a spaceship that was sent to Venus on like this kind of exploratory mission or something like that. But what the crew didn't know, that the real mission of the ship was to deal with some alien stuff that was going on. It starred Rob Livingston and Malik Yoba, and every episode had a nice little message going on. It was a real insightful show. It got canceled, I guess, because, like I said, people didn't know about it. But if you want to look at some good sci-fi, I'm going to tell you, though, it ends with a cliffhanger, so, don't get caught up in it. Number four, Dresden Files. Sci-Fi Channel had this show on called The Dresden Files, and it's based on a book series, but it was a wizard that was also a detective, private eye, and he was a little bit of a washed up private eye, but in the show, of course, because he's star, he always got stuff done. And usually there was some murder caused by some magic or something like that, and he would use his wizardry, his spells or whatever, to stop the bad guys or catch him or whatever. And it was a good show because it had him, and it also had this whole wizard world that he was a part of. People and councils and stuff like that. And he is a friend of a cop who really didn't know that he was a wizard, but he kept helping her get stuff done. Number five. Now this one hurt. This one hurt me, and I know it hurt a bunch of you geeks out there. Young Justice. What the heck happened? Why did you cancel? Young Justice was the hottest show. Cartoon Network. Don't know why you canceled it. I think it was Cartoon Network, right? Don't know why you guys canceled it. Well, I know. The word on the street out there is that it wasn't selling toys. Is that it? Toys to boys? Come on now. Is that reason to cancel a good show like Young Justice? It had everything. It had plot. It had characters. You had a lot of characters that you didn't see in DC Universe. A lot of young people and stuff. Good story. Everything was going on. and again they left it on a huge cliffhanger. Not to spoil it, but it was a big cliffhanger, and it could have gone so far. Netflix, I'm talking to you. You better, all these other little Fuller House and all that. You better pick up Young Justice if you're smart. You better pick it up. We'll binge that day and night. Number 6, 4400. You guys might remember this one. 4,400 people disappear suddenly out of nowhere, and then are returned somehow. And guess what? They all have like superpowers, all these strange powers. The powers are starting to grow and stuff like that. I didn't watch the whole thing. Just as I was getting into the show, all of a sudden they canceled it. It's ridiculous, but it was a good concept. I think it lasted 4 seasons. I believe you find it streaming, so go out there, you can check it out. Number 7, popular Josh Whedon show, Firefly. Westerns, right? A Western in space. Space opera with the Western. How did that go wrong? How did they not keep that up? But I don't, again, maybe ratings or whatever, but Firefly was an awesome show, and got 13 episodes. You can find it out there too. And yeah, I know some of you guys didn't like it, probably why it also got canceled, but there was a lot of people that liked it. It has a huge following, so I think they made a mistake with that one. Farscape. Farscape is number 8. It an alien adventure, right? With a guy from Earth. Of course, it got to have the Earthling in there, but an alien adventure where a guy is testing a rocket ship or something like that, goes through a wormhole, goes to the other side of the galaxy, and drops right smack dab into a so-called prison ship that is full of aliens. And he has to figure out how to deal with these aliens and stuff like that. There was also these space cops called the Peacekeepers. And the cool thing about this show is that it was partly a Jim Henson project, where the Jim Henson Company, where a lot of the aliens were puppetry. One of the main characters was a puppet, and it was really not a Muppet, a puppet, but it was a really good show, and it definitely got cut too soon. They did have a few movies, the Peacekeeper Wars, that was kind of wrap things up with the story, so it does leave you with kind of a closure, but it really should have gone on. It was really great. Not bad for young people too. I wouldn't say kids, but not bad for a bunch of young people also. Number 9 is Extant with Halle Berry. This came on CBS, and all right, people, you sci-fi geeks out there, you got AI, artificial intelligence, versus aliens. How can you go wrong with that? With Halle Berry in the middle, maybe, I don't know. Some of you guys are Halle Berry fans. Some of you guys don't feel it too much, but I thought it was a good show. I thought it had great potential in it, especially when they were getting into the AIs, into the robots and stuff like that. And also you had Alien Mac Daddy making alien babies all over the place. That was kind of interesting. But unfortunately, it lasted 2 seasons, and it was good. Number 10, Stargate Universe. Stargate Universe. Now, some of you guys really like Stargate, had a huge following. Stargate Atlantis had a huge following. But somehow Stargate Universe didn't click with a lot of you guys. I don't know. I loved it. It's space opera. It didn't quite remind me of Battlestar, but it did have that same dramatic tone to it. But what I loved about it is that it really was a human story. A lot of human stories were in it. And basically, these people go through a Stargate, if you guys are familiar with that, through a wormhole, and they get stuck on this ship called the Destiny. And the Destiny is kind of on a mission just to explore the universe. It not only explores galaxies, it explores the universe. So they're stuck on the ship, and they're trying to find a way to get back home, but they run into all kinds of little problems and stuff. But the show was shot so well. The music was beautiful. The first 4 episodes dealt with some element stuff, light, dark, air, water type stuff, and it was just a great show. I really was bummed when they canceled, especially on another cliffhanger. I don't know why all these shows get canceled on all these cliffhangers. Number 11 is 0 Hour. I know you guys haven't heard this because this came on and was off like that, but I thought the concept was interesting. It was kind of like National Treasure meets the Da Vinci Code, I guess. This historian or a type of antiques, maybe archaeologist, whatever. He found this clock, and the clock had this clue to like other clocks, and they sort of had this secret to, I don't know if it was eternal youth or I don't know, world domination or something like that, but it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool because they had the guy there. They had a couple of his, team, scientific team and whatnot. And it had this evil guy that was Nazi. It kind of goes back to Nazis and stuff like that. But there was one Nazi guy that should have been dead, but he was just as young as he was back in the 40s. So it was something to do with the clocks. And I thought it was pretty cool. It was shot well, it was acted well, and poof, like that, it was gone. Number 12 is Kings. Kings. You guys remember Kings? If you don't, basically it was a David and Goliath story with Saul and how David was rising to be king and Saul was going to, he was trying to stop him because he had the prophecy of somebody's going to replace him. I don't know why this got canceled because it was a story based on the Bible that came on Sundays and it didn't have an audience? Like what? Something's wrong with the world if you can't have a show based on the Bible on Sundays that doesn't have an audience. I don't get that. It was a modern telling that was pretty cool. Instead of David going against Goliath the person, he went Goliath was a tank or something like that. And that's how he got his fame. And it was cool. It was cool. Go back and see it if you can. I don't know if it's out there, but check it out. Number 13 is Fringe. Now, I know what you guys are saying if you watch Fringe. You're saying that, hey, it didn't get canceled. It got, it ran its course. But I feel like it could have gone much longer. Look, people, if Supernatural can go 11, 12 seasons, I know Fringe could have gone at least, 7? Come on. They did a nice little story arc. They could start another story arc. Walter Bishop was awesome. His son Peter was awesome. Shout out to John Noble playing Walter Bishop. And Olivia Dunham, like the three of them and all their friends and stuff. And let me not forget Astrid. Astrid was awesome. The show was hot. It was fringe science, and they could just kept going on with it. And I was just kind of mad that it kind of fizzled out in that weird last season. Number 14 is a more recent show that you guys might or might not have caught. It's called Forever. It was from the, Ian something. It was the guy that played Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movies, the original two, the first two. Well, second two if you don't count Corman. But he wasn't that great. I mean, he was okay in the Fantastic Four films. He was really good in this show Forever. Basically, it was about a guy that had a curse on him where he couldn't die. Some of you guys might be saying, like, that's not a curse, that's a blessing or whatever, but, his wife died on him, and, he just, nobody would live long enough, right, that he would be in love with. He'd have to see him die over and over again. Every time he died, he would get reborn in water, in a body of water, like a river or lake or whatever that was nearby. He'd get reborn. He'd be naked, coming out the water naked or whatever, newborn baby type thing. And it was a cool little show. It was a medical drama that was, kind of like this procedural thing. People were dying. He'd figure out how they die and stuff like that. So I liked it. I liked the romance on it, the little, ins and outs. And the enemy, I think it kind of started puttering out when the enemy showed up. Didn't quite hit the mark with the enemy. Last but not least, one of my shows that I really enjoyed was Alphas, another sci-fi original show, sci-fi channel. And Alphas was cool because it was kind of like the X-Men, but these guys had powers that they were kind of believable. It was all biologically based, like people would control people's pheromones. People weren't shooting lasers out their eyes. They didn't have telekinesis. At least I don't remember them having telekinesis. Their powers were more organically based. So you had a woman that could smell really, she could manipulate her senses. So she could make her sense of smell go up, but her eyes and everything else would go down. Or she could make her hearing go up, and then her smell and taste and eyes would go down. I liked the show. It was pretty cool. one of the best bad guys at that moment on TV, one of the best bad guys on, you know, a TV show on Sci-Fi. I really loved it. It was cool. It's too bad because they killed it on a cliffhanger that was unforgivable. Unforgivable. So that's my 15 sci-fi fantasy shows that should never have been canceled. Hey, this just tells us that we have to support science fiction, support fantasy, not the bad stuff, but some of these shows are really good, and they just we gotta tweet and write letters or whatever so we could keep these shows on. Check out my blog, geeksoulbrother.com. I got reviews and trailers on there. Sometimes I do some commentary, me and my nerdy venoms that I have on my podcast. Sometimes I throw a little commentary up there. Also, check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Of course, I want you to subscribe here. Hit that subscribe button because I want to give you guys more videos, more top 10s, more top whatever, you know, things that come up. Sexiest robots, who knows, fastest spaceships. Who knows what I'll talk about. And I want to do more reviews and stuff like that. Want to really get things going on here. I'm working towards doing it consistently, but for now, whatever pops in my head, I'm going to throw at you guys. Also, check out Saturday Night Sci-Fi on Twitter. Hashtag Saturday Night Sci-Fi. That's where I feature a film. It could be old, it could be new sci-fi, a little fantasy, maybe some anime, a couple horror, you know, something like that. But I feature it every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Just go on Twitter. If you guys aren't on there, you know, just join up and just do a search for the hashtag. And we have a good time. There's a whole bunch of us, and we get together, and we kind of, you know, talk about the movie, have fun with it. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but the theater is full of everybody on Twitter. So check it out, Saturday Night Sci-Fi. That's it, my peeps. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Like I said, subscribe. Hit me up on social media. Comment below. I really want to hear what TV shows you didn't like canceled. You know? Because I know there are a whole bunch of them. There are a whole bunch I did put on the list. So let me know. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Oh, just to let you know, this is not my crib. This is my boy's crib, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And because my wife would never let me put swords on my wall. Never. She used one of them to cut me down. So, yeah, this is his Death Star. And I'll be doing some videos from here. So, hope you guys enjoy them.